Hey guys, welcome back to see the finished product of another custom project I've done out here deployed. I thank everybody that's watched these videos so far. Actually, there's a lot more interest than I thought. I originally started putting these videos up just to try to get some advice here and there if anybody took notice of them and had anything good to say, but people are actually subscribing to this stuff and getting on a lot of views, so I really appreciate it. In one of my earlier videos, I was doing some custom work on a CRKT M16-12 ZSF. It's part of the Kit Carson design series. It's this guy right here. And I'll put a link right down there somewhere, so if you want to see the video, you can. But in the end of that video, I showed the original model of this, which is the smaller little brother, the M16-12. So I had mentioned that one of the troops out here had that little knife and wanted some custom work done on it. And, you know, I really enjoyed working on the larger M16-14, so I figured the M16-12 would be good. So the first thing you're going to notice that's different on this knife, thinking back to the old video, took the black plastic scales and replaced them with the toxic green G10. Our squadron sort of has a thing about zombies, and when K-Bar came out with its zombie killer line knife, it was really exciting for us. So we call this zombie killer green, so I'm going to refer to it as that from now on. Airman who belongs to this knife wanted the zombie killer green scales with this sort of reptile pattern on it. Took a lot of the lessons I learned with some of the other knives, and I think I did really good patterning. Number one, getting it to fit just perfectly on those liners. Number two, just the design and the ergonomics on it. Working into the pattern, the extra ramps to get your hands on the thumb studs without looking like a separate grind, and then continuing the pattern onto the thumb ramp here so that when the knife is opened, you can get to that liner lock. It all came together really nice. Another feature I ground into this was I left a little bit extra room around this pivot screw, because one of the fantastic features of this knife is that if this isn't Loctited down and you don't have tools, it's designed just right so that you can, with a thumb or a finger, put enough pressure on there to adjust the functionality of the knife and adjust the mechanism there. So I wanted to make sure he had good access to that, so I left that out a little bit, and it works great. When I put the whole thing back together, I used no tools on this. I just screwed it in with my thumb and it worked perfectly. When I did the backspacer, I got a little adventurous and I put a mini reptile pattern on that backspacer. So it's really just decorative for the most part, but actually when you're holding it, you know, if you're getting a good grip on it, it does give you a little bit of grippiness right there, even though it doesn't look like it. So I'm happy with that too. The other thing is he didn't like the the bead blasted finish of the old blade, and the blade being kind of a satin bead blasted finish with black hardware everywhere else, it didn't quite look right. So to his request, I went and took all that finish off, and he really wanted a stonewash kind of finish, but didn't want the typical stonewash finish, and I couldn't do that for him out here anyway. So I used the technique that I used on a previous knife when I reworked an old Benchmade, and I basically just went and took the coating off and ground it purposely a little bit uneven so it kind of caught the light in just the right way. So it's not really stonewashed, and it's not bead blasted, but it's not shiny mirror smooth either. It's not a satin finish. It's kind of something all of its own. And I also did the clip and all the screws, and then gave the liners a once-over just to make them match. They were not coated. They were already kind of silver metal, but I gave them the same sort of finish that's on everything else. After I did the removal of the coating, I went ahead and did a really nice grind to put an edge back on this, because it sort of lost the cutting surface as I was grinding. So you can see that's mirror shiny sharp right there. Centering is damn near perfect on it. Action is still really nice and crisp, whether you're using the thumb studs or you're using the flipper. You'll notice there's a little bit of a squeak there at times, and that's because when I ground off the finish, it left a rough, not perfectly even area over there. So when the ball detent in there is running over it, it's actually grinding itself a new pathway through there. So it's going to squeak a little bit. When I put it all back together, I realized that putting that center screw in the clip was actually, for some reason, and it's the one big mistake I made, I guess. I don't understand why, but it was pushing against the blade, preventing it from opening cleanly. So I left that out, and the owner's okay with that. He understands why. Not that big a deal, because the other two screws are holding this clip on fantastically. So the knife is not heavily modified, but it came out pretty well, in my opinion. The new owner really seems to like it. Other people that have seen it really like it. Again, curious what it would look like all in flat black, but I think this came out pretty well. I still want to do one in flat black when I get home, which is not too far away, so I'll probably do that and show everybody, but right now it's pretty good. Functional, absolutely, works perfectly with the flipper. Actually, with the grind in these scales, I made the thumb studs a lot more accessible than they were originally. Now, on the larger M16, you might remember the thumb studs really are not functional at all for getting that knife out. They mainly just form the stop for when it's opened and closed. But with putting those grinds in there, it allows you to get just enough purchase over there with your thumb to use the thumb studs to open this up. There we go. It's all done. Hope everybody likes it. Stand by, because when I get home, I am going to do another one with flat black. We'll see how that all looks. I'll maybe get my hands on this one again from the owner and compare the two. But I thank everybody for watching again. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.
one day here, the next day gone. Sometimes you bend, sometimes you stand, sometimes you turn.